How's it going, everybody? John DiBernardi from DeFund Finance, and DeFund Finance is a sovereign roll-up for the modular ecosystem. Now, what we mean by that is we're actually providing a DEX and an options protocol and a liquidity hub for all things modular. What we're focusing on is actually creating this hybrid AMM order book that is going to aggregate as much cross-VM liquidity as possible, creating the best possible place for roll-ups and anybody that wants to utilize Celestia and other modular ecosystem, their assets possible, best place possible. And with the options protocols attached that has over 1,000 times leverage, no risk of liquidation because of the Dutch auction style, we actually use these options created to hedge our liquidity pools and actually remove the impermanent loss, making it a very attractive place to lock your funds up. So why are we doing a sovereign roll-up versus a sovereign L1? So a little bit of history about DeFund. We actually started as a sovereign L1. We were a traditional Cosmos L1. And there were a lot of challenges related to managing a validator set and costs and other related things to actually managing your stack. We decided that it makes a lot more sense to be more efficient and more modular by moving over to a sovereign roll-up infrastructure. With choosing a sequencer versus a validators, we can actually keep a lot more of our efficiency stable. We can be a lot faster. We can be a lot more agile. We can also rely on the consensus and the security of Celestia instead of having to bootstrap their own set. And now there is a slight issue, but it's not really an issue. We just have to manage our own bridges instead of using existing bridging infrastructure. But we benefit from the increased throughput and latency that Rollup provides. So overall, the efficiencies and the costs outweigh what we're doing with the standard L1. So once again, going back to why we picked modular, not just the speed and efficiency, but it's also improved stack. So there's less for us to actually manage. We can focus on more creating the best product possible instead of just working on the things that have already been done, like consensus and issuing on the settlement. But we really are attracted to the roll-up to roll-up interoperability. So for us as a Cosmos L1, it's harder to communicate with non-Cosmos chains before we became this roll-up. Now we're a roll-up, we're like, okay, we could tap into Lyra, we could tap into all, the Pepper DEX is coming out, all these different places that are offering liquidity and different products that we want to tap into and offer on our DEX. Now that they're a roll-up, we can actually, in the same ecosystem, we can actually communicate with them much easier than forcing them, hey, you guys need IBC. That's no longer a real commitment for us. We also get to maintain our sovereignty. We get to still control almost all of our stack, not worry about the stuff that we don't need to care about. Like, for example, when we were on a Cosmos L1, we didn't really want to mess with Tendermint or Ignite now, but we still had to manage it. Now we don't have to touch it at all because Celestia's got it. So, and also we can leverage that security like I mentioned before. So why does it matter to condense liquidity? Kind of what I was saying before, it helps. It kind of increases the whole pie. Everybody eats. A nice little cake that we're all eating on here. Having Celestia liquidity, so TIA liquidity, Ethereum liquidity, Solana liquidity, and Move, Sui, Aptos, anybody that is on that roll-ups are releasing and having whatever as their base token, it makes it so much easier to function when you can just access it without having to go through an extreme bridging scenario. So by building a DEX that aggregates this as much as possible, it's going to make it a much easier way to allow these ropes to scale and actually reach the people that they need to do. Also, focusing on that liquidity aspect, it improves swap speed and improves swap costs for these people, once again cutting out the bridging fees and bridging costs. And when we can add TVL to the Celestia ecosystem, it makes it look a little better, maybe adds a little bit of positive price action, but that's not the financial advice anyway, but we'll mention it, why not? So why options? So 1,000 times leverage options may seem like an absolutely ridiculous concept, but when you pay the premium up front, it's actually not that extreme because you're not going to lose more than you put up, and it can be part of an intelligent investing strategy. Many hedge funds use options to hedge their risk, and a lot of degens now, they're already throwing all their money in meme coins. Why not throw their money into something that it's a contract, it has a set expiration date, and it's actually going to give you a predictable result. So this is something that is a need in this industry that is being answered by some people, but not nearly enough, and not in an ecosystem that is actually collaborative with other ecosystems. Like, for example, there's Typist Finance on the Sui network. They really only focus on that network. With our unique position, we can have options on virtually any token. And since it's settled in USDC, we can make options on Bitcoin. We can make it on Ethereum. We can make it on Celestia. We can make it on whatever meme coin that just launched yesterday. As long as there's proper liquidity and proper people bidding on the actual Dutch auction style vaults that create these options, it's no issue. So, and also the timing of these options, hourly, daily, monthly, yearly, it's all determinant on what that initial vault is created by. So if you want to say we have an hourly TIA option, it's going to go through about like a 5-minute bidding process or 15-minute bidding process, and once that closes, you have an hour to trade those options that are minted from that pool. So that's pretty much how the options work, and we use these options to actually hedge impermanent loss like I was mentioning before. So this structure is not something that's being used anywhere, and we think that's something that is going to really attract a lot of people that want to provide liquidity. I mean, you can store your assets in here and preserve your principal, because we're actually putting put options on these pools that allows to keep your money in a safer place while still allowing the flow to happen, right? So this is attractive to not just smaller investors, but more so bigger funds that, okay, they want to be able to provide liquidity to the ecosystems that they support, and they feel like, you know, we don't have to do our own hedging strategies. This is already managed. You can see in the contract, you can see in the code exactly what options are going to be there, and feel comfortable that in an event of an adverse market turn, like say, for example, you had TIA USDC and TIA decided to take a 50% 50% tank, you know that the hedged options on there are going to make up for the losses that are going to be on that pool. So I mentioned paired with a stable coin. So these pools, they're only going to be hedged for now. We may be able to figure something out in the future, but it doesn't make sense right now. Only hedged for now on stablecoin pairs. So TIA USDC, ETH USDC, Sol USDC, et cetera. Or USDT, whatever the stablecoin is. Just we need a single stablecoin paired with it to make sure that we can actually keep that impermanent loss hedged. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. I know I kind of ran through this, but we recently announced our tokenomics. Tokenomics are going to be really, really cool. It's a little bit of a twist on what's going on right now with tokenomics. The entire supply is minted at Genesis. It's a deflationary token that is used heavily in the protocol. So whenever a transaction happens, you're going to see some D burned. And it's going to be used really for helping create some liquidity pairs cross-chain, and also actually on the options themselves, helping settlement on those. Our testnet, so we have a nice new testnet coming out. From a little bit of background, DeFund, we've run multiple testnets in the past. It's helped us really learn the industry, learn what to do and what not to do in terms of not just managing a blockchain, but what people actually want to do. And we feel very comfortable about our next testnet coming out, where you're going to be able to see all the fun stuff that we have coming out. Nice, easy to use front end, but also the DEX, the hybrid DEX is going to be very functional. And then the options and the hedge pools will be rolled out shortly after. I'm releasing an ambassador program in our Discord to help, grow us autonomously instead of just relying on, hey, you guys should go find DeFund. I'm going to actually have some people helping us grow the pie a little bit more. And you can check out DeFund and DeFund app, DeFund.app, and our X page, DeFund_finance. So thank you guys. I would love to answer any questions you might have.
So you're decentralized option protocol.
Yeah.
How are you going to attract market makers to market make any asset? That's the issue. Like, you can bring in market makers, but they're not necessarily gonna agree to just market make long one day.
Yeah. So in our tokenomics, we actually have multiple ways to earn rewards for what you're doing. If you want to provide into what's called, we have a call and put pool that is actually emitting rewards. So it's not, like I said, all of our tokens are minted at Genesis, but 19% of the supply is going directly into a call put pool, and then another one's going to a hedged pool for the hedged liquidity, and then there's a set vaults pool. It's a vault that allows you to lock up your tokens for the options fee revenue. So you have options as a market maker to, when you provide, you can also take however much you want to provide and lock it up in the vault pool, earn revenue on the options. So the way the vault pool works, and because we're not going to have staking on our token per se, there would need to be a way to incentivize people to want to provide liquidity and actually be a part of the network. You lock up your tokens, provides essentially liquidity and helps market make on the pool. You'll earn fee revenue from every time an option is minted. And that's, we hope, is a good enough incentivization. we'll see in practice, but that's what I believe will help a lot.
And is this like a order book based, so then you only the order transactions that have been fulfilled will be executed on the rollup?
So it's an order book and AMM. The AMM is for mostly liquidity pools. The order book is for the options mostly.
Yeah.
So yes, the options will be mostly on the order book, but because of the nature, so they're presumably going to be ICS 721 standard NFTs, which pretty much means you can trade them on any market. You can send them like any other token, and due to that nature, order book, it makes the most sense because you're not going to want a liquidity pool of options. So yes, they're going to be trading on the order book. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, awesome. I'm here all day. Thanks, guys.